Hello from the HardDrive Radio Studios in New York City. I am your friend and humble narrator, Lou Brutus. Dustin Bates of STARSET is my guest. Dustin, always good to see you.
You too.
Tell me about the demonstrations in the United States that are wrapped up for now. I believe things went very, very well. It was an amazing production.
Oh, thank you. It went really well. I think we had 35 shows and hit all four corners of the U.S. and it was our most proud tour to date. I think we're really happy with how it turned out, production-wise, performance-wise. It was a nice step up. We're always trying to do that, so really happy with it.
How were the shows structured, and how was that structure dependent on the narrative of the album?
So there were actually two different types of demonstrations. We called one New West and the other one Rebel. And our wardrobe and the video content and even some of the immersive production that happens before the actual performance were all different. We hand out different propaganda. We had posters on the wall that would explain some of the narrative for the night. And they would also have augmented reality within them if you had our app. And so the entire experience shifted between those two demonstrations.
Were there ever any difficulties with anything so elaborate?
Yeah, there's always, it's always a gamble when you're using so much production and you're not in an arena. You know, some of these were pretty small clubs, so we always had to be able to pivot. But our crew was incredible. So proud of them. Some of them were really new, and they just stepped up every night and helped keep it at a very high level.
Now, how does the narrative structure of the record fit into the previous world you have created for STARSET to exist in?
Well, it's based on a second novel. So there was one novel that really told the narrative just after the Transmissions record, and this novel exists just before this Divisions record, and so a lot of the visuals and videos and different promotions that people saw, they all exist in a sort of real-time environment after that book. So it's a sort of hopefully entertaining sort of confusion. I hope that was the goal, and a lot of the uncertainty will be answered by that second book when it comes out.
How difficult is it to take these initial ideas for a narrative, for a storyline, and then turn it into listenable music?
Yeah, it's an iterative process, I would say. They play off of each other and they build off of each other. You have the general narrative, and the record is enmeshed with it and builds off of it. But then when the record is closer to being finished, the narrative can also shift a little bit as well. So, like I said, very iterative. And this particular record had actual narrative within it. There are scenes, almost scenes, audio scenes, little, I guess, inspiration from almost War of the Worlds, an audio sort of scene. Or the reading of the Orson Welles, version, and it sort of begins to tell that narrative, which can't wait to release more of.
When it comes time to prepare for people to see all of this, tell me about some of the behind the scenes for the video, for the stage production, for the costuming. If you could maybe give me a little background on each.
Yeah, so for the first time, we've had enough budget to have our production set up ahead of time in Columbus in a warehouse, and we were able to set it up, practice setting it up with the crew, tinker with it, look how it, analyze it and improve it, and that made a world of difference for us. And actually, I really can't wait to do even more of that the next time. It really, really helps. So that was a big piece of it, and in general, just having more crew even really helped. We've been doing this from the very beginning on a shoestring budget, always sort of outstepping our budget and the size of the band and the size of the venues and even the power available. We've had to bring generators out to shows before. So
give me an example, and it could be from this current tour, it can be from a past tour, but having to fix things on the run? Because I've seen it backstage where, you know, the band is 3 minutes away from going on and there's suddenly screwdrivers and welding material out.
Yeah. One of the goals is to design it so that I no longer have to do that, because, you know, I need to be focusing on the performance. In the past, there was soldering happening. Yeah, there really was this stuff happening.
I said welding, I meant soldering.
Yeah. And there was...
Ron out in a big mask and, you know, sorry.
No, and now the crew, again, more trained, and it's designed in a way where there are less, especially this production, there were less moving pieces, and previous iterations of some of the designs, like the spacesuits or the cryo packs, they were more prototypical, and these are much more well built, mostly because I didn't build them. They've been rebuilt by other people that aren't just into the idea like me, you know.
Who do you go to have things like this done, be it stage props, be it stage gear, or be it the costumes? Maybe we start with the costumes, because the designs for those I remember seeing early, and it was like watching film stuff come to life.
That's awesome. Well, for the costume, first off, the spacesuits have gone through, I think, 4 iterations. Yeah. We've always built those. For the new wardrobe, for the New West and Rebel Nights, to start the demonstration, those are, a lot of that's, well, it's kind of proprietary where we get it, because it can be replicated pretty easily if I told you too much.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of which, part of the fun of going to a STARSET demonstration is the fans and the interaction with the fans, and the fact that some people know how to live and breathe this at the performances. Tell me about some of the most impressive things that you have seen from fans by way of self-costuming and trying to weave themselves into the narrative.
Virtually every night there is at least one nerd version of me, the sort of inventor version, at least one a night, which is amazing. And there's almost always various versions of the spacesuit in like fully done. And recently, just entire groups of people that are dressed in the sort of rebel attire as well. We also play into that. We give, on a New West night, for instance, we gave people the BMI, that is the technology that the narrative is centered on, and they would all wear them. And it was really cool to watch them all, you know, join us in this immersion. And one other thing that I really want to hammer home, I haven't hammered it home enough. You know, we're a band with songs first that hopefully people relate to, and especially, you know, people that aren't even really into science or sci-fi. That's the first thing I feel like I haven't done enough to explain, that if you just like the songs, you can come, and that's a majority of our fandom is, you know, just people watching a band with the songs they like. I say that because some people feel a little outside of this, because of the
put off by
it, and it's just about, you know, it's essentially like going to a movie. You don't have to dress up like a Star Wars character to like Star Wars. It's very much like that. But at the same time, the people that do are our favorite, I have to admit. You know, they were like a crew or a family. The label says a cult, but